Welcome everybody to another episode of Living Earth Farm. We are outside today, so I apologize if the audio quality is not so great. As I'm saying that, there's cars driving by, of course. So I'll try to keep this quick just in case the wind picks up or a neighbor decides to mow their lawn or more cars come by. But I want to do a quick property walkthrough so you can see kind of what my setup is, what it looks like out here. And this week's podcast episode is going to focus on trying to work with whatever weaknesses your property may have, work through any problems your property may have, and how you can get creative for some of those issues you might be having. So we're going to start. This is my big, beautiful house here with a ramp, front porch. My beautiful rugs are drying outside. The rugs are for, where'd she go? She's walking up the ramp. The rugs are for Harley Quinn when she's inside because of her arthritis. I don't have any carpet and it helps her from slipping. So I'm just counting here, 4, 5, 6, so hold on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 beds. Some of them are raised higher than others. Not a whole lot of planning went into what was going to be a raised bed and what was pretty much going to be on the ground. They were strategically placed though, based on the limitations of my property, which I can talk through more in a different episode. I've got 2 septic drain fields and a lot of grass with gravel directly underneath, which wasn't ideal for growing in. So I've had to put them strategically to avoid some of that. This year I decided to get dirt, 75 bags of dirt from Lowe's to put on top of my beds instead of a nice compost or things like that. I live very rural and the delivery fee was more than the cost, almost double the cost of the dirt or compost to get a dump truck dropped off out here. So that was not an option. I don't have a truck, I don't have a trailer, so I couldn't go pick it up myself from somewhere either. Lowe's did free delivery. I got 75 bags of arguably shitty dirt with no nutrients. The shit doesn't hold water. So I'm really struggling on my property. So I'm going to walk through some of that in the podcast episode. But for now, we'll get to the actual garden tour itself. Okay, so I figured I would start over here so you can kind of see the whole property. Do not mind my stack of cardboard that's going to the recycling center this week. You can see I've got compost fingers get in the way in the back there, compost tumbler there, bunch of beautiful hostas. This is my first bed. This bed is struggling a lot, and I think it's struggling for a lot of reasons. Number one, I have to fix my drip irrigation line. It's looking a little kinked and not in the best position here. It's also struggling. It gets a lot of sun. So what is planted in here? A bunch of onions that are not doing so well. I did plant some carrot seeds in here, some little baby lettuces, lettuce seeds. Nothing's taking off. It does not get enough water, and this bed in particular is full. The whole thing is full of this shitty dirt that doesn't hold water. So it just cannot, even with all the rain we get out here, it is just not keeping enough water for anything to survive in this bed. So we will do better next year. This is my big long bed right here. Big long bed, mostly on the ground. It's not really raised off the ground very much at all anymore. So I'll give a quick walkthrough of what's growing. Obviously we've got some weeds I'll take care of, but we've got some kale plants here, some potatoes kind of going in the middle there. Collards are all over here. We do have some little baby plants that are trying, definitely some weeds I gotta clear out. Few wilted lettuces that I just transplanted today that I need to water. That back there is a dahlia. Some jalapenos that are not doing too hot. More weeds. Some of my tomato plants are doing better now. Some of them are not doing so great, but some of them are doing very well. Bunch of tomatoes, some more kale, and then we've got grass growing in here and some onions that are also not doing well. My thyme has gone to flower. So as I was walking down this big bed over here, I will say last year when I did not have this shitty dirt, this bed was beautiful. This bed was full of such amazing produce, so many kale and collard plants, I could not keep up with them. Over here, this bed gets a lot of shade because of my beautiful tree right here with my bird feeder. So what I have done in the past and what I did this year is just spread a bunch of wildflower seeds and let whatever sprout up is gonna sprout up. You can see because the dirt does not hold any water, things are not really sprouting up, and we're gonna work on that too with this bed. Coming over here, we've got another bed. This bed is doing much better than some of the others. These are my beautiful pea plants. You can see the beautiful pea flowers. So I will have peas very soon. Oh, I do have, look at that. And they're King Tut purple peas. Can't wait to eat those. Then we've got here more onions. Some of the onions are doing okay in this bed. Some of them are not. Looks like a cilantro is over there. Some squash plants and some beans all kind of mixed together up in here. Look at that cute little squash guy coming in. Happy beans, happy squashes. Love to see that. So this is my next bed. Similar things are planted over here. Got some carrots that came in for me. Very grateful for those. Some more squash or cucumber. Haven't figured out what some of these are yet. Some peas. I'm hoping that big guy is a cucumber, but it may not be. I have to plant ID that big one. A bunch of pea plants again with just beautiful pea flowers. And there's that King Tut purple pea. And these onions are doing very well. I'm very excited for them. Coming to this next bed. Same thing, this bed is mostly filled with that shitty dirt that I was talking about. I've got like the world's largest radish somehow growing in here. Well, it looks like another one's coming in, but this one's about to go to seed. Interesting. Jalapeno plants that are not doing too well. More onions, beautiful potatoes. Can't wait, this is my first year growing potatoes, so I cannot wait for them to actually come on and I get to eat them. So I'll walk a little over here. I attempted to grow potatoes in buckets, but I don't water them very much, so they're not doing so well. This is oregano and chives. These oregano and chives, these guys are probably 8 or 9 years old. Love that they're so happy. This is nothing but a bed of potato plants and some weeds. Over here, same thing in this bed. Can't get much to grow. The sage is happy, the oregano is happy. Not much else wants to grow here. But I will say there is one little tomato plant. So this big mess back here, nothing but raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. Let me see if the birds got all my blueberries. Nope, I still have some blueberries on here that haven't quite turned blue yet. We're waiting on those. You can see the raspberries, that are waiting to turn red. So many raspberries that I'm very excited for. There are ways you can make your raspberries not look like this, but I'm here for it. Just give me all the raspberries. I do have blackberries over here as well. Can't wait till they turn black and I can eat them all. So that is the very quick garden walk through here. Let me pause this and flip it back around. All right, so I flipped it back around, brought you back inside, so this way you don't have to listen to the neighbor mow the lawn, and any cars that might be coming through, anything like that. Sorry, I'm trying to use my laptop as a prop so the video's not shaking. It turned on, but what I wanted to talk through a little bit more is just my piece of property in general, in case you're not familiar with where I'm living, how much space am I on, some of the design limitations, what I would do differently. So I live in Western North Carolina in Brevard, and that is about an hour south of Asheville. I believe I am zone, I should know this off the top of my head, and I do not. I believe I'm zone 7. I haven't looked that up in a little while. So I can grow a lot of things out here, but I can't grow a lot of things out here too, if that makes sense. So we do get a lot of hard frosts. My last frost date is like first frost of the season is like the middle of October. Last frost is usually around Mother's Day. So we do have a nice size winter. I don't get a ton of snow, but I can get snow. But it does get and stay below freezing, so there are certain things that do not grow well out here, and I can't just leave out in the garden throughout the winter. But during the summer, it does get warm, but it doesn't consistently stay warm. So I was living East Coast, North Carolina before this, and when it gets warm in the summer, like the lows are in the 70s and the highs get up 80, 90, 100. Like it gets hot out there. Out here, I think we're still seeing lows in the 50s. And it's June, and we're seeing highs that maybe right now we're hitting just barely 80. So it is not that hot. So that is part of the reason why my tomatoes are not going gangbusters right now like they would be if I was living East Coast, North Carolina. It just doesn't get and stay hot enough for them to go crazy. Now I will get a good flush of tomatoes. It just won't be, at least for me on my property, until August or September before the tomatoes really say, okay, we're here. So my piece of property, I'm on 0.2 of an acre, and that 0.2 of an acre, I was hoping most of it would be a garden. That is when I moved in. I didn't want any grass. I didn't want lawn care. I didn't want to maintain it, nothing. I just wanted big, beautiful garden with some beautiful pathways. And I come to find out I've got 2 septic drain fields. One takes up my very small backyard, and one takes up my whole side yard that I have, which is south facing and beautiful and sunny. So I could not grow on that side yard, so I have to grow in my front lawn. The other side yard I have is full of nothing but gravel. Like there is no dirt. It is grass growing on top of gravel, the whole entire thing. And it gets a lot of shade because it's north facing. So it's not ideal anyway to grow a lot of plants. So doing the best I can with what I've got. Last year, things worked out very well. The garden was super, super productive because the dirt that I purchased was a higher quality. It retained water. The drip irrigation system worked really well. Part of the struggle I'm having with my drip irrigation system this year is I added a few extra lines, I added a few beds, and I added additional lines to beds that were already in place. And so I think I may have overtaxed the system, and it's just not pumping out enough water to keep things alive in between rain sessions for me. So kind of difficult where I'm at right now, but I'm also extremely busy. So I do try to go out there and water by hand when and where I can, but it's not very often, it's not consistent enough. And for example, like in August, I will be gone for almost 3 weeks. Same thing in September, I will be gone for a good 2 to 3 weeks. In June, I'll be gone for a full week. So I just don't have, I needed the drip irrigation system to really work out, and I needed better dirt to retain some water. So this is one of the things I love about gardening though, is it's never gonna be perfect. It's always gonna change. Every season is different. Every pest you get can be different. Selena Sky loves when videos are happening. That's her favorite. Every piece of property is different. Every crop you try to grow is different. So this is my first year really trying with onions. It's my first year ever trying potatoes. So just the fact that those are working well, even if some of my other, like the jalapenos, are not doing good, at least I've got some things that are doing really well, and I'm grateful for that. And if you'll notice, some of the beds that are out there, in the beginning, I was just planting into that top soil that I had put down, not realizing it wasn't going to hold water, and everything died. I put out like 100+ plants, all of them died and I was out there every single day with my hose watering them to try to keep them alive, and they just could not because it couldn't hold enough water throughout the day. So that was frustrating, but I then realized if I wait till the plants are bigger and I dig out in some of the beds, I put the topsoil only like 2 inches on top of the regular soil. If I dig the hole far enough down into that good soil and plant the roots down there, those are the plants that are doing well out there right now. All the other plants have died or are going to die or are just not doing well. So definitely gonna rethink some things. I will say, obviously, because there's not a lot of water retention, the weed pressure is very good this year compared to last year. Last year there was a crazy amount of weeds. Like if I was not out there multiple times a week weeding, it would be bad. You saw some of the weeds out there. I have not gone out and weeded the garden in probably 3 weeks. So I guess it's a give and take on that. I would rather have really great plants and have to weed more often than to struggle to keep the plants alive, but that's okay. Can't win everything every single year. This was supposed to be the year my garden was supposed to become a farm, and I was going to sell at farmers markets to restaurants, co-ops, CSA shares, the whole 9 yards. So I'm very grateful that I decided to pivot away from that before I used this topsoil and realized how bad it was, because I would be very stressed out that none of my stuff is growing if I had decided to keep things the way they were. So I am done rambling and talking about all the things. Hopefully this garden tour was helpful, and I do want a quick note. I could probably do a whole separate YouTube video about the beds that I did make that are out there. They're all made out of free pallet wood, where I got free pallets, broke the pallets apart myself. I've got some special tools for that, and then built the beds. I will say they're not built for long-term use, so I don't expect those beds to last me 10 to 15 years. Those beds are only gonna last a few seasons, but they'll get me through, if that makes sense, because this was a temporary piece of property and not a permanent piece of property, or I would have done something different with the beds. So just all the things to think about when you are designing your property, figuring out what you want, and hopefully this was helpful. Feel free to comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.